got hit by a car when I was 14. My best friend saw the accident and he said, I've just watched my best friend die.
Coming up on Kev Jet the Podcast, psychic medium David Maddock is here to tell his story.
Welcome, David Maddock, psychic medium, to Kev Jet the Podcast again.
Yes.
Only this time, this is your story.
Thank you for having me.
How do you feel?
Nervous at the moment, as usual. But yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm good.
We had this conversation, probably a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That it'd be a great idea to do this episode. And I could tell you were a bit nervous, but it's also a great opportunity
Yeah.
for you to speak
Yeah, definitely.
about yourself.
Yeah.
And for people to get to know you.
Yeah, let people get to know a little bit more about me and the person behind the Connect with David brand as such. And, because I am human and, we all have our issues from day to day and I suffer just the same as everybody else. It's just how my approach has changed so much over the years and all I want to do is try and inspire. So if I inspire, motivate, help someone who's lost someone with grief, anything like that, who's watching this, then I feel like I've done my duty for me being here.
When did you realize, at what age, that you could do this and that it was going to help people? It wasn't just a fad.
So it started for me. I got hit by a car when I was 14. My best friend saw the accident and he said that the car tossed me up in the air and I hit the windscreen and I bounced off the bonnet. Then my foot got stuck in the grill as it took me down the street and he said, I've just watched my best friend die. That's what my best friend said to me from school. And he said, you just had this moment to standing up, cry for your mom, and then you just, and he said, I thought, that's it. And he said, you had the grill stuck to your foot. When I woke up, I was all in shock. I was on the floor, I didn't know what was going on. And when I went to the hospital, I was lightheaded and stuff, and the doctors kept saying to me, checking my elbows, checking my head, and I said, the only thing that's broke is my big toe. I'm fine. And they was like, no, we and the doctors will tell you. And they ignored what I said about my toe. I chipped a bone in my elbow. I got cuts on my head, little minor scratches, really. I bent my knee. So my knee, sometimes I have to stretch my knee out because instead of the bone breaking, it's actually bent the bone. When we went back a few weeks later, about a week later or whenever it was, I can't remember back then, but we went back and I did break my big toe and that was the only thing on me. And I kept saying to them, broke my big toe. So now my big toe, when I try and bend it, I can't bend it. So there's a little bit of inside information for your wonderful listeners. When the accident happened, I try not to dramatise this subject because I think if you go on any social media platform, there's plenty of that going on, and I try and keep it very, very grounded and real. And I had this moment of being above myself, looking at everything. I could see the ambulance there, I could see the two policemen. There's more policemen, but I remember this vividly. I could see the chip shop where it happened, the main road, the car. I could see it was really weird. And I had this moment of, this is not your time now. I just want to say that I didn't see anything of that nature. I just had this feeling of, now's not your time. And I just had a flash of white light and then I woke up. And this played on my mind quite a lot. And you just kind of let it go. I was always intrigued. So my mum did tarot cards, but not for anybody outside of her circle of the close friends. She'd do a few, but then more so for herself. And going back before the accident, and we will get to the moral of the story shortly. And when I was a lot younger, I used to have WWF back then, WWE wrestling figures, and we used to play, and because I'm one of 5, and I used to play my wrestling figures, and I'd always be intrigued to my mum's tarot book. I knew that my mum, because my mum loves to read, absolutely loves to read. And I knew that next to one of the Catherine Cups and books or somewhere along there that her tarot cards would be there. And I remember opening them when I wasn't allowed to. And I opened them up and I remember all the pages falling out, what she'd written. And he was like, what does the card mean if it's upside down? And I was like, what have I done? So I'm then picking it all up, putting it back together. What have I done? But then I look back and at that moment, and even now, I think, even at that age, whatever age I was, anything from 5 to 10 or 12, leading up to that, I just think it's unique in its own way that you're playing with wrestling figures, young lad, but then you're so intrigued by the tarot.
Did you ever have that conversation with your mum?
Not really. Well, I contradict myself there because I did eventually. I would never tell her that I used to open the tarot card. So, Mum, I do apologise. When I got a little bit older, I'd say to her, Mum, she used to have a psychic lady come round, or a friend used to do it, and I used to beg her, can I have my cards read or whatever, when I was about 10, 12. She used to say, no, you're not old enough, you've got to be 16. And that was her stance on it. My dad was a big sceptic, really. A man's man, works in construction, works on the road. So I was like, okay. And then when I was 16, my mum took me to a psychic fair and we went round the room, and I remember sitting next to my mum because at the psychic fairs, it's normally you pay £5-10 or whatever it was for a quick snippet of a few cards. I remember the lady saying, to my mum a few things, and she was on about a few things. And me and my mum looked at it. Well, I looked at my mum thinking, how does she know that? Like, does she know us? You know, trying to get my head around not understanding the subject and not understanding what it's all about. And the lady said, do you want your cards doing? And I was like, oh, I haven't got the money. You know, I was 16. I'd just started an apprenticeship. And my mum was going to pay. And the woman said, no, I'll do them for free. She literally did them for free. So she picked 3 angel cards, placed them out, and she said, oh, you're going to help people all over the world.
Did you envision what that meant?
No, I had no clue. It was one of those comments that I look back now and think, blimey, that was good. Like at that time when you're in that moment, it's like I was just totally oblivious to what she just told me. I left it for about 6 months, and then I went and saw another lady, and I always remember this card being the same card as the one that the previous lady, she said the same things, and I was like, that's really odd. But then it's
happening.
Yeah. And then it was like having, you know, when you've like got an itch and you need to scratch it. My friend was having a psych party, like a lady coming over, and I said, oh, because he knew I love this stuff, and I said, can I come round? And he says, oh, Dave, I'm fully booked, you know. He said that, and then when I was working as well, because I used to work on the roads with my dad, he phoned me up and he went, oh, Dave, an opening's come, do you want it? And we was going to be late that day, but then as he phoned me, I said, let me let you know in like half an hour, whatever it was. And the quarry broke down or something, so we ended up leaving so I could make it. And when I went there, she went, as soon as I sat down, she went, oh, you've got a glow about you. And I was like, really? You know, this moment of, and then she, the same again. And she said, you're going to help around the world. You're the 3rd person. And she said, you need to take notice. Went back, you know, I told my mum this, and my mum was like, all right, then tell me something about me. So my mum, because like I say, she used to do a little bit of tarot with a friend, learn a little bits and pieces. And again, not for the public, just for herself. And I put my hands on top of my mum's hands, and I just closed my eyes, and everything was like, if I said to you now, Kev, what did you have for like lunch yesterday? You know, if you went out the weekend, where did you go? You'd place yourself in that scenario. So you'd be like, oh yeah, I was at a party or I was here. And you'd start remembering that. So then you're in that place of that daydream. So that's what it was like for me, but I'm in somebody else's daydream. So
Did it freak you out?
Strangely enough, no, not really. It was like, I got excitement from it, and I was like, I'm onto something there. Like, this is strange. What really got my attention, which I'm about to get to, is that everything was in black and white. And I says to my mum, I said, you know, we've got a lady that keeps showing me, but she's all in black. She just wants to be known as it. She doesn't want to be in colour. She wants to be in black or blacks or something like. And my mum's maiden name or her mum's name, that some connection was that the name was Black. That's why my mum and Gran wanted to be known as Blacks. Right. And then I had this feeling of like, you know, when you see somebody down the street, Kev, and you see them, I recognise the face, but I don't remember the name. And you have that awkward moment of like, please don't come and say hello to me.
Or if they stop you and you have to with you and you're like, this is nice to see you.
Yeah, this is my mate. So that's what it was like. And I was like, this is odd. My eyes were still closed. And I was like, I've felt this before. And it took me back to my car accident. And that flash of light was my gran, and I know that my gran saved me. That's what got my attention. So my mum said, if you've really got my mum with you, what's she telling you? What's her name? So I said, I don't know. And my mum says, Troy. So I was there for a bit, and I remember a pair of denim jeans started. Like, I just saw a pair. I went, see denim jeans, Jean. And my mum says, yeah, her name was Jean. But then she said she had a nickname. She said that nobody knows. I'll always support you. She went, but if you tell me that, then you've got. So there's me going to bed. What name could it be? Mary. Like thinking, and I was like, no, not working. So I was saying all these names. I think it was like a day or two later. I was in the kitchen. So the kitchen, you walk through, and to the left, my dad was down the bottom, cup of tea. My mum walked past me, and I had that feeling of I was like, grandeur. Instantly, just overwhelmed me like grandeur. I could feel, not see anything. I want to be clear on that. I'm not claiming to see and I kept seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the first aid box. It was like floating towards me in my mind's eye. And the aid was getting closer from the first aid. The aid part was getting closer. Tomb Raiders of the Lost Ark was coming. So it was like Ada, Raider. And I went, Mum, it's Ada. And my dad went, did he know that? You know, my dad being this skeptical. And my mum went, yeah. And like my mum got a bit upset at the time. I can't remember it clearly now, but that's when my mum was like, yeah, there's something there. And then that happened, and that's when the journey really began for me, and I started to look into it. Started at a spiritual church, but just didn't feel it was for me, didn't feel it was compatible, which is no right or wrong. I went for a few years on and off, And then I just found my own way, really. My 20s was a really difficult, strange period for me in terms of trying to find who I was and who I am. And when people say that, you look back in the 20s are like the best years and you make your peak and everything else, for me, it wasn't like that at all. Yeah, it was just a strange period for me because I was going through all the emotions of, wanting to be one of the lads.
Yeah. Did you find that your friends thought it was strange that you could do all these things?
They didn't know. I didn't tell anybody. Yeah, didn't tell anybody. I kept it. It was really hush-hush. If I'd had a drink, I might let it out to one or two here and there just because the rumour was spreading anyway. Plus I was working on the road, so you have to be a macho man, you have to be like, So I always tried to fit in, and my relationships weren't the best, and I just had a lot to deal with over the years too. But I'm glad, I'm proud of myself for how far I come in that period for me.
What was the push that made you feel, I've got through this?
Well, I was off and on for like my early 20s. I was doing like little small events, nothing major. People was hearing about me, and people like locally. And I remember one of my friends coming up to me saying, "My auntie's had a reading, but she said it's with David Maddock, and that's you." And I was like, yep. And that's where it started to come out a little bit more. And
were you embarrassed about it?
Too scared to actually say, "This is who I am," and to find that courage, because that's where it comes from. It comes from strength, courage, self-belief, removing the self-doubt.
I'm hearing you say these things.
Yeah.
And your father works on the road and you have to be macho because you're working with him. Yeah. But you also say so many positive things about your parents, and you're so proud.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of emotions there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my mum's been a stay-at-home mom, and she's done bits and pieces in between.
And there's 5 of you.
Exactly. And she's had all that to deal with. And you don't realise at the time. I mean, I'm 40 this year, and when my mum was 40, she got kids, and I'm like, I remember when we went to a trip to Blackpool and we did all these things, and my mum brought my dad 40 gifts for his 40, and my dad has worked tirelessly, working away, was self-employed, while everybody else is off on holidays at Christmas and stuff. He'd have like a week off, and then he'd be like, right, working away. And there's just this drive within me that it just inspires me to keep pushing forward.
What are your siblings like in regards to your work?
Never really talk about it, to be honest. They support me wholeheartedly. But it's just become one of those things now that I never, when I'm around them, I'm safe. I can just be me, and we can just have a laugh. I'm known in the family actually as the clown of the family, like the entertainer. I'm the one that does silly things, but I just feel so relaxed around them.
Do they ever come to your show?
Yeah, whenever they can. Mum has literally been to most of them. But now, as time goes on and you go to these bigger venues or different venues in the week, it's difficult for everybody. But if they can make it, 9 times out of 10, at least one of them will be there. We've been a family group chat, and they'll always say, "Break a leg, Dave," or "Good luck." So they always send me the well wishes.
You have a heart on the table that you brought, that your mum has given you, and you take it with you everywhere.
Everywhere, like anything like this, if I do a show, everywhere, and it just says faith, and there's a little thing underneath it. And she got me that when I very first started. So that was when I was in my 20s, my early 20s this was, and I was very, very lost. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, wow, how have I gone from that to where I'm at now?
When you say lost, describe what that was.
I felt, for me, putting on a bravado of trying to fit in. So that was lost. Relationship-wise, I was lost. Lost with trying to find who I gel with friends-wise, because it's like you gel with them here, but then behind the scenes, I'm reading angel cards and tarot cards, oracle cards, and it was just a really, really positive in its own way. I'm one of these people, Kev, that I never ever look back. You live and learn, you move on, and I've learned so much from it. So I'm glad I went through that, and I don't have anything bad against my exes or past friendships or anything. It's just like them in their lane, I'm in mine. Don't look back in regret, because I think we're here to learn, but trusting that the universe, everything in all of glory, whatever she's doing, your spirit guides, your loved ones are all guiding you in the best way. But you've got to go through these things.
So,
you really have.
And I have to tell you, 40 that's the age when you're like, this is me.
Yeah. I can feel the energy shift.
Yeah.
So when I was, as I say, in my 20s, it was a period for me where I stopped doing my readings. My mum would say, "Dave, people are asking for a reading." Like my mum's friends, I remember one of my mum's friends coming around the house, and there's been a few, to be honest, and they come around the house, and I literally just sat there, said a few things, and she was like, "That's by far the best I've ever seen." And she said, "Dave," and my mum said she's really into it. Her name was Wendy, and lovely lady. And she was just like, Dave, you know. I read for a guy at work called Dean, his wife at the time, and she said, Dave, and I was about 18, 19, something, 20. She said, Dave, sign this book for me because you're going to be massive. She said, the things that you've told me and what you've done at that age, but then lack of confidence come in, and then this fear of what are people going to say about me? People think I'm sitting there with a cloak on, and I wanted to fit in so bad because you're so desperate to fit in, but all the whole time, like, you're just lost.
All of a sudden, David appears,
Yeah.
and you want to do a tour.
Yeah.
So, did you feel nervous?
Very, very nervous when the opportunity come. Really nervous, and I just again, you just push past that fear barrier of like, so fear, anxiety, stress for me when I'm doing this, or when I'm doing a live show or whatever it is, or a private reading. I mean, I'm a nightmare.
I always see so I've done my research. I've seen your show in Leicester Square.
Yes, you have.
And the first few minutes of your show, I can tell that you're nervous.
Yeah.
And when you walk out with that glass of water in your hand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, because I know that feeling when you're about to start something and you're like, ooh, you have to walk out, and all these people are expecting you at your best.
Yeah.
And that can be nerve-wracking. But then you just get into this zone.
Yeah.
Have you always done that?
Yeah. That's just the way, because you push past the fear, the anxiety and everything else, and then you realise that you're there for the greater good. I'm not there to get my ego stroked. I'm not there because the fear and everything else comes from a place of like, how do I look? And I have to brush that to one side. It's not about how I look, not about my accent. What I've got to do is, like, all these people in this room, I'm here for a reason. And I have to push past that. But then not only mine, I have to push past their barriers as well that they hold.
You're also not afraid to give a message, and sometimes the message is, if you're in the audience and you can think, a few times I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah.
It's so important because that's what they're expecting.
Exactly. And it's not about me and my ego, and I've just got to say it the way it is. This is what I'm getting, but let's look at what we can do to try and help and what that would be coming through.
I guess I'm going to ask, because you can watch any television show with a psychic medium and they're in a room full of people and they'll say, someone's husband has died. So that's not your approach, but what do you think about that?
Each to their own, and I just think that it's...
And do you think that's real?
Difficult question, because, I don't want to look like I'm trying to put others down, or, it's like anything, isn't it? And I always compare it to art. So if you think of an artist, some artists do black and white, some do colour, some do painting, some do drawing. There's so many varieties. So I do believe there is a few charlatans out there, yes. But I just think that everybody's got their own approach. Mm-hmm. And I just think that whoever, as long as it's genuine in terms of they're not just, as long as it comes from a place of, I want to help the person, and they're not doing it from a place of, look at me, I'm on the big stage. And, that's where I felt I was going last year, and that's what I didn't like. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why this year I took a bit of a moment to reflect, because I just felt it was all the big screen, the banners, the large audiences, the like showbiz side of it, I suppose.
It was great. I have to say that. And that draw, especially in Leicester Square, I mean, that was amazing. Yeah. The one thing that I do like is you're so real with the audience, and you actually spend time with them afterwards.
Always.
That's what I like. You would have stood there all night.
And I would.
Yeah.
Well, and that's I do it at every show, and I would stand there and Megan would be like, Dave,
I'm tired.
Dave, come on. And I'm like, nope. And one thing I used to do, actually, as I was saying, just to a show, and I decided to do it again. But there was a thing I used to do at the end of a show, and then I stopped doing it for various reasons. But I'll probably go back into that now, which is more interaction with the audience. Honestly, I will stand there all night if I have to, because I can't reach everybody in that room, but I try my best to. You get an opportunity to meet me.
I guess where I can go with that is private clients.
Yeah.
You must have celebrities that come into you.
Yeah.
And so do you feel that is a big responsibility on your part?
Absolutely. There's two ways to look at it. It's a big responsibility, and then also it's a difficult job as well when you read for the celebrities, because there's so much out there.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. If you Google their name, or, you have to get past that. Mm-hmm. So I always think of it like an onion. We have to get through the first layer, then the second. And sometimes there might be things that they don't want to hear, they're not interested in, not what they expect. But then they always seem to come back, or it hits home later on. And then, so it's quite difficult at times. But the bigger responsibility is because, and this is something that I've learned more and more as I've grown spiritually and doing this work, is that it's a bigger responsibility because they need a safe space. And there's so many that what's the word I'm looking for? The mindset and mental health is so big right now, and sometimes I feel that they've got nowhere to turn.
And they
and that's the one message that I do want to put out there, that if any celebrities, any your client, anybody reaches out to me and it's like, look, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, but I don't know to know. Nobody would ever know. I've got a list of celebrities, and I would never dream of telling people I've read for that person or I've done that for that person. And because it's a private thing, and if they want to share it, they'll share it. If they don't, then they don't. I mean, it's great because it just shows your authenticity when you do get a celebrity. As I say, I just want them to feel that actually I can go to Dave, whether it's picking a few cards, talking, losing grief, whatever it may be, they can talk to me about it, and it's never going to go anywhere, and they've got somebody that they feel safe to do so. So that's where the bigger responsibility comes from. Again, the difficulty is you've got to go through the layers.
Anybody is treated the same way. Everybody is treated
100%, exactly the same. And that goes for all my clients. I always say to them, if you can leave a few words on your socials, fabulous. Again, I'm not doing that from a place of like, oh, look at me. I'm doing that from a place of authenticity that people then can look and think, oh, actually it's genuine. Because as you were saying earlier, is the charlatans out there? Yeah, there is. But that's like any job. Every walk of life, there's somebody, the person that doesn't pull the weight as much as someone else, or claims they can do this, but really can they do this? So it's not just in the work and the field that I do, it's in all over. So for all my clients, everybody, but if they do leave a review, it's great, because then other people are like, oh, actually, I can trust this person. And the amount of, literally all my work has just grown from word of mouth, and it's just been word of mouth, and it's expanded from there. I don't do marketing. I don't do, even for my shows, I don't really, do the marketing side. I don't really understand it, to be honest. But yeah, that's just how it's grown, and now I'm reaching people all around the world. And then you go back to when I was 16, I had that first reading. She's like, you're going to read for people, connect people. And now I'm like, I'm doing that. And the flip side of that, and the funny side of that, is that I'll read for clients and they'll say to me, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm like, okay, but then do you understand this other part? I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but then I'll take it with you then. Think of airport security. You go through all the bag. I get all the stuff out. I give them the suitcase back, their stuff. It's up to them how they put it back in. This is your information, because again, it's not about my ego.
So I like that. I like your analogies as well, because I like the swimming pool one as well, which you talk about in your show.
I tell all my clients the swimming pool, and they always message me, or like later on they'll be like, Dave, my swimming pool is full of algae, can you help? But I'm like, if you've got something though that you can set your mind to, it just helps massively. If you can actually envision, instead of just like, oh, I want to do this, this and this, but I don't know how, but you can actually envision it, then it just helps you when you're, because then you're going to start questioning, like, hold on, there's a bit of algae floating towards me here, like I don't like this. So then you're consciously, I'm going to put a stop to that now, and whether it's friends, family, and this goes for all your listeners, if you feel that somebody's coming in, so shall I explain the analogy?
Yeah,
okay.
Please.
So the pool is, I always say, like your pool of energy, but this is your pool, like your lovely pool outside. So this is your pool, and if people are jumping in your pool, or people, are swimming around in your pool, and the people are coming like with their problems, or they're being nasty towards you, or whatever it may be, or something that irritates you, all of a sudden that pool now is, you're creating algae, that they're creating algae, and it's up to you to put the boundary in place and say, no, actually, I'm here for you, but you're going to have to stay that side of the fence, because I need to keep my pool clean. And a lot of people come to me, and this is where the direction of my readings has changed ever so slightly, because a lot of people come to me. So whenever I do something like this, a live show, a private reading, group session, I'm now stepping into that pool. I don't want to get dirty. It's like, okay, it's like a sense of knowing, and that's where the intuition comes from, and that's where the ability comes from. That's part of the ability in the work that I do. So I step into it and I'm like, how do I feel about this energy? Where do I want to place it? Like, how can I help them? So what I do is then I'm like, okay, now we're in your pool. And they're like, yeah, but I want to hear from my gran. And I'm like, no, wait, your gran will come in a minute. Here's the net. Start getting some of this algae. And sometimes people will say to me after a session, like, Dave, I didn't realise I needed that till I've had it. And
so when you did that at the live show, I was like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
And then after you explained it, I was thinking, that is one of the most brilliant things.
Yeah.
It also puts everybody at ease.
Yeah, it really does. And then we do the meditation as well. I do a meditation at the end because, as I say, I know that I can't reach everybody in the room, but there's little things that I can do that can help people. And what I try and do is that when that bit of algae is coming towards you, or you feel that, oh, my pool's getting dirty, it's like, breathe, and all is going to be well.
This takes me back to our conversation earlier about your 20s.
Yeah.
As you reached your late 20s, is that what, did you start thinking about your pool?
Yeah.
And did you start cleaning it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit shy, believe it or not. I can be at times really shy. So to push past that, like, oh God, I've got to meet someone new, and I get a little bit uncomfortable. Change for me was that I'd put everything on hold in my own. As I say, I was trying to find who I am, where I'm going, trying to fit in with everybody. And yeah, I was the sensitive one, and I can own that now. And I remember one girl used to say to me, like, oh, here he is, sensitive Dave, trying to belittle me. And I was about 29, I'd just got my house at the time as well, my first home. And that was when I was like, do you know what? Like, here I am. And then all of a sudden, like, my Facebook page that I kept quiet, like, you know, all of a sudden, like, with like 20 people liking it, I was like sharing it then I was like, this is who I am. And it was just a turning point for me. That's where everything changed for me.
How do you feel when somebody gives you negative feedback?
In what respect? The reading?
After a reading. Or anything in life. And it just comes to mind just because of the conversation we just had. Because you describe your 20s as feeling judged and afraid. So does negative feedback affect you?
Little bit. It can do. And then, but it comes from, it's not from the place of like affecting me. It's like, oh, why didn't I do good enough for them? You know, but it doesn't affect me. It'll play in my mind a little bit, but it's more because, not because of me, because I'm like, oh, I should have done more. Yeah. So if you had a reading with me and you was like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't get what, then I'm like, why didn't I do enough? And that's where that's what drives me to keep progressing and keep being better, because I don't just like stay here. It's like, no, we're like, I want every person I reach to feel like, wow, like, you know, or at least I feel better. Like, you know, if they feel better in themselves, they get the confirmation, the loved ones them around, whatever it may be, as long as people leave through my social media, if I can post one story or one comment, one post that somebody looks at and it's like, that's really inspirational, and that's helped me. Whichever form, it doesn't matter what, again, it goes to the artist. Some people like black and white. So some people come to me now because they want the pool clean. I know it sounds ridiculous, but they know what to expect. So I get a lot of repeat customers, and I'm never going to please everybody, Kev. In life, you're never going to please everybody. Stay true to yourself. Do what's right for you in here, and just learn that, yeah, it does affect me. And this is where my spiritual work has really developed, because it's like, yeah, it's going to affect me, but then it's about letting it go. That's their algae, not yours. I did a reading for a client the other week, and it was online. As soon as she come on, I stepped in and I was like, Now, when I step into when I'm doing energy work, I have to protect myself as well. And I was like, yeah, we need the scuba diver gear on here. Like, you know, this is going to be deep. And she weren't being rude, but she was just like, I'd rather you tell me. So, for example, if I'm picking something up, if you went to a doctor, for example, Kev, and you says to the doctor, oh, I've got a pain in my arm. Oh, where's that? No, doctor, that's your job to find it. You and the doctor, not me. Right. Then the doctor's going to be like, well, no, I'm just going to spend another half an hour trying to find where, just when you could just simply say yes or no, or that it's there. So if you think of that, you're just prolonging my job and making my job just... So I understand that people are going to come with, no, you should tell me and I shouldn't tell you. But if they let it flow, think of the onion, peel back the layers, they'll soon get the like, shut up, don't tell me. I mean, Kev, you saw it yourself in front of an audience. Well, that one guy was skeptical, and he went, yep, no, keep that, let me tell you. Because just let me ease into it, let's ease into it. And I'm trying to take my time. So I found it quite rude the way she was being. Now, I don't mind, I understand people are nervous when they come. It's like, what you going to say to me? I understand all that. But I do this for a professional living. I know when somebody's being disingenuous, or whether somebody's doing it in a way of like, oh, I want him to prove himself to me. Yeah. So I stopped the session. I said to her, look, what's with this? And she was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what's with this? And I said, I'm not here to get my ego stroked. I said, I'm here to help. But if you don't want me to help you, go and find someone else. And again, it's not because I'm being rude. It's because if I'm not right for them, then just say. And she was like, no, it's okay. And I just said, well, let's just breathe a little bit.
And when you're giving those messages, I think this is quite an interesting thing to describe to the listeners. You're not actually seeing the people, are you?
No. And I've never claimed to see them. In my mind's eye, I've seen bits and pieces, little things, but it's more of like an energy. You know that feeling? If you're in a bar, somebody's standing behind you, like somebody's standing behind me, and then you look and there's that person like Not because they're breathing down your neck, but because you just have that sense of, you might go somewhere and meet someone and you're like, I don't like this person. And everybody's like, yeah, but they're the rave, they're this, they're... And you're like, no, you know, that's your intuition. That's your psychic senses. That's your, exactly what I'm saying, the intuition within. So it's just about listening to that.
So you kind of have gone into something that I wanted to talk about a little bit later, but I'm going to go into it now because there is no flow. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
But it's about your circle.
Yeah.
And so as you're becoming well known, your circle changes.
Massively.
At what point, where were you when you realized, okay, I need to clean up my circle, not just my pool. My circle needs to be, like I always describe for myself, I'm like, people will say, oh my gosh, Kevin, you have so many friends, you have so many people around you. And I say, I have a lot of people around me, but I only have a small circle of friends.
Yeah, and ain't that the truth?
You talk about trust.
Yeah.
People coming to you, you have to have the trust as well.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And, you know, people come and go, you know, and I wish people well. I don't wish bad on anybody. I haven't got no reason to. One thing I have learned, though, is just putting a few boundaries in place with who you do have in the circle of, you know, but I've got a very close family and a big family in terms of a lot of my siblings. So we are very, very close. We're friends as well. Well, sister, brothers. So we're very close. So that kind of changes dynamic. So I don't need like 20 other friends when we're just so close. You know, I've got Megan there as well, got married, and she is my best friend.
So that's another subject that I was...
Oh, sorry. Just call me psychic.
Are you a psychic? So let's talk about Megan. And I know she's in the room, so if it's going to make you uncomfortable. Perfect. So how has she changed your life?
Massively. Changed me around my work and the person that I was becoming. But I mean, massively. I can't even put into words. I cannot put into words what she has done for me. And she's helped me find who I am, the confidence when the chips are down to keep pushing forward. The times when I need my pool cleaning out, she's there with the net, like, Dave, come on, let's get this cleaned. She has supported me no end. She's just a very, very special person to me. Great.
When did you know you wanted to marry her?
From the day I met her. And true story, and this is just proof. From the day we went on the first date, and I was just really unsure at first. So we met, and through a dating app. Which was nice for me because then it's not through my social media. So then, you know, it's like this is genuine. Somebody wants to meet. We met, we got on like an house on fire, and we went for a meal. And I think it was the first or second, I think it was the first date. It was around my birthday as well, and she brought me a bottle of Moet, and I said, I'm really sorry, like, I don't drink champagne. I know. Yes, yeah, exactly. But that bottle of Moet, along with the receipt, I kept them. And and when we got married, I kept the bottle and had it all framed for her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the bottle framed with the original receipt when we first met the first date. Because I just wanted her to know that, like, look, when people say you know when you know, like, as soon as she stepped into my pool, I was like, wow. Like, you know, and just a beautiful soul inside and out. Just everything for everybody. Doesn't look after herself as much as what she should mind. We bounce off each other so well because she's in entertainment as well, being a professional singer. When she has her down times or her struggles, because being a performer, and you'll probably know this yourself, being in the industry and stuff, when you're up there, and then you've got I've got to slowly come back down again. So with Megan, with her peaks, I have to make sure that, like, she, you know, I'm the bit of a safety blanket, like, you know, but I'm always supporting and pushing her. But yeah, we just bounce off each other so well, so well. And she just took on a role of being everything to me, and there's no other word. And I can't even put into words, or that would give her the justice that if that's the right word to use, what she deserves. You know, because anybody can say what I'm saying, but honestly, it's about how I feel in here. And you know, I don't show it all the time. You know, we all have our ups and downs in life, but I just know that when I wake up in the morning, I want to be waking up next to Megan, unless she's at a gig. Then I don't wake up next to Megan. I wake up next to you, go a big boxer dog licking my... And I'm like, that's not what I want to be seeing. But yeah, like I say, she's golden. She comes from a really good background, and she's got a lovely family. I love her family to bits.
How do you feel now? Where do you see yourself going?
Like I was saying earlier, when I do my readings and stuff, I'm here to help people. And again, I'm not here to get my ego stroked or anything. So I'm here just to let people know this is who I am, and this is what you're going to get. And it took me a long time to do that, because I always used to think this is what I got. But no, some people need the pool cleaning out. Some people need that help. We was on about this just before we went on air, that, you know, our biggest mistakes are our biggest lessons in life, because without those big mistakes, then, you know, you wouldn't have learned what you've learned. So then you're like, well, I won't be doing that again. So as I say, for me personally, I mean, there's still shows. I mean, we've got an opportunity to go to America, potential. We're talking to America. I've written my book. Obviously, it's just a draft version.
We should say it's actually lost.
Yeah, well, you've just took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say it's a book about being lost, and then the book's got lost.
Was it difficult to write the book?
No, I really enjoyed that because there were so many things that I could relate the book to. I can't say too much about it because it's one of those books that you need to read because the twists and turns in it. But the novel is going to be, I'm really happy with it. And I enjoyed doing it. I'm excited because I know it's going to help people. I know that when they read, they'll be like, oh, you know, and Megan was reading like every night when I've written another so many thousand words. She was like, is it time for me to read the book? Yes, Megan, yes. So it become a thing of every night. And honestly, Kev, because I've had this story within me for so many years, I remember trying to write it when I was working on the roads, and I wrote about 150 pages, tons of words, and I used to do while I was waiting for time to come or whatever I could, and then I lost it. So, but again, I don't look back and regret to say I've got to start that again. I'm just like, oh, I'm going at a different angle, and it's actually helped me get to where I need the book to be. So, as I say, there's a lot of work that's got to go into it from the editing side of it, but I just wanted my original draft copy to where it's going to finish. And I think I just wanted to inspire people. You know, if somebody's watching this now and they're like, I would love to do, just do. You know, just do, and do what makes you happy. Doing what's right for you. Stay true to yourself and stay true to who you are, because you, for example, Kev, might change the way you are around me, but then you might be this person around someone else, and then it's like somebody else is like, well, I don't like that, Kev. So it's just about just be yourself, because you're going to be judged anyway. You'll change your mold to fit someone else's. If something goes wrong, or you go for a job interview and it's like, they don't want me, and you're upset, or things are not going the way you want, think of like, you know, the toys that you used to get as kids, where the little babies like put like shapes inside the ball, and it's like square. The boss has got the ball and he's after a star, but then you turn up and you're a triangle. Does that mean that your mold will not fit somewhere else? Absolutely not. It just means you're not the shape for what he's after in this current time. So never ever beat yourself up. Just look at it as a life lesson. Just push forward.
I think it's because we can relate in a lot of ways. And through Kev Jet, I would say my name is on the tin, but the show is about the guests. It's about helping people. And that's what I'm hearing from you.
But again, as long as people leave better than when I found them, then I'm doing my job. Well, thank you for
everything. I wish you the best of luck. And I don't doubt that when I see your name on the big billboard, I know that it's authentic.
Yeah, definitely. When it's the right time for me.
And I'll be at the show.
No doubt. No doubt at all.
Thank you, David.
No, thank you.